Hello and welcome back to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel, your source for all things Everton. My name is Thomas, back on the channel today with another Football Manager 2021 simulation. And as you can see on your screens, we've gone for something a bit different this time. We've done manager simulations in the past. This year we've placed Wayne Rooney in charge, placed Rafa Benitez in charge, but slightly different. We've gone for a player this time, Lionel Messi. Of course, he had a lot of contract disputes with Barcelona over the summer. That is settled now, but at the start of the game, he is technically a free agent. He's moved from Barcelona there to Everton after his whole career spent there. He's on a 5-year deal. He's not going to leave until the end of that 5-year deal. So we're going to see what kind of impact he has on the squad, what kind of impact he has on the results that we get. Does that kind of caliber of player, act as a catalyst to get more players, more impressive players in? Let's see how Everton do. So as usual, we're going to skip until January this season, then the end of the season. Then we're going to fast forward through each season to see how much of a significant impact he has until he does turn 38. So join me just in a moment and we will begin that simulation. Right then, welcome back. As you can see in the top right of the screen there, we have skipped until the 1st of January with Lionel Messi playing for Everton FC. And already in the bottom left, we can see he's had a very good impact. He's made 18 appearances in total for the club, one substitute, 9 goals, 9 assists, with an average rating of 8.2 across 19 appearances. It's absolutely fantastic. You can see, he's clearly still at the peak of his career. We'll have to see how that develops. At the end of his 5-year contract, he will be 38, so it'll be interesting to see how that does affect him going on. But winning player of the match 6 times in 14 appearances there in the league, and then 3 out of 4 matches in the Carabao Cup. He is clearly doing very well at Everton. But interestingly enough, if we take a look at Everton's league position, less can be said about that. Currently in 16th place. If you watched our previous Rafa Benitez simulation, which you absolutely should, it was an interesting idea maybe to see how we might get on this season. This season that we've simulated here has gone very differently. Everton find themselves in 16th in the Premier League on a terrible run of form there. As you can see, David Unsworth is in charge. He has clearly been placed in charge of some caretaker role, with Benitez being sacked after only 180 days, after 7 games won, 3 drawn and 10 lost. So interestingly, without Messi in our previous simulation, Benitez did really well, won a trophy, got European football at the end of the season. In this case, not so well, has already been sacked before the January transfer window. So clearly, although Messi is doing very well personally, it hasn't quite worked out. And the only signing that was made was this goalkeeper, clearly just brought in as a backup. So made a few appearances in the league and the cup, but nothing too significant to speak about. So we will now skip until the end of this season, see how the new manager gets on, see if Everton can turn around that form, push on a bit further. We saw them have a very good cup run. Not going to be the same in the in the Carabao Cup, but Arsenal are to come in the 3rd round of the FA Cup. So I will be back just in a moment at the end of this season. Okay then, welcome back. In the top right screens, as always, you can see 24th of May, the Premier League season has ended. In terms of Messi's stats, he continued to do well, making 40 appearances, 5 off the bench, 14 goals and 19 assists, so a very good record. Clearly had a massive impact on the team, finished with an average rating of 8.06 across all of his club competitions, so did very well. I mean, he was doing well in the World Cup South American qualifying as well, but that's not quite what we are looking for. His value has decreased quite significantly, I think by 8 or so million. I can't quite remember what it was at the start of the video, but all of his stats still fantastic. Clearly hasn't experienced any massive decline this year in the league. There are his stats: 10 goals, 12 assists, 10 player of the match appearances in 35, 7.86 average rating in the Premier League. But for Everton, it wasn't quite the same. Michael Laudrup has now come in as manager. Took 29 days to end up appointing him. Of course, the former Swansea City manager. He's now come in. Couldn't quite guide Everton any higher up the table, not to any European positions, but better than 16th nonetheless. We can take a quick look at the schedule from January onwards. Winning that massive match against Arsenal in the FA Cup, then against Watford in the 4th round, 5th round against Huddersfield, quarter-final against Southampton, and one against Brighton in the semi-final, but in the final losing out to Manchester United. disappointing there. Another brilliant cup run. I wasn't going to show you this one purely because we've still got 4 more years to get through before the end of this video, so we couldn't spend too much time talking about where Everton's appearances. But another cup run, interestingly enough, wasn't under Rafa Benitez this time and wasn't a success either. But you can see there the system. Messi was deployed on the right, Richarlison off the left, Rodriguez through the middle, and Calvert-Lewin up top. Sigurdsson a bit deeper alongside Decore, and I presume that Kenny was not the favoured fullback. I'd imagine that was probably more to do with Seamus Coleman's injury or dropping out of the squad. I'm not entirely certain, but 17 goals for Calvert-Lewin. Clearly a lot of Messi's assists ended up going that way, and 13 to Richarlison. So a pretty decent return from those two, alongside 14 for Lionel Messi. So pretty decent records from all the forward players. Interesting to see that they only did manage to finish 12th, but there was an upturn in form after Laudrup came in. It then was pretty poor around the March and April period. Getting to an FA Cup final seems to be kind of common in these Everton simulations on Football Manager, but losing out to Manchester United in the end, and then kind of a poor kind of end to the season as well. So that's not going to be the end of the video just yet. We are now going to skip towards the end of next season. We're not going to stop at January from now on. 4 years left on Messi's contract before he ends up leaving at the age of 38. So we're going to stop at every season, see how Everton have got on, see if they can make any more cup finals, see if the manager changes, and see if we can attract any more high-profile signings with Lionel Messi being at the club. So join me in just a moment where we will be on 24th of May 2022. Okay then, welcome back. As promised, we are on the 24th of May 2022. Lionel Messi still doing absolutely fantastically, as we could have imagined. 32 starts this season with 8 off the bench, 12 goals, 19 assists, an average rating of 8.05. Just fantastic once again. Clearly a very influential player in this Everton side, but as you can see, that value is massively decreasing every year of age. He's now 34, started when he was just 33. That clearly has a massive impact on his market value, especially, he's on a 5-year contract. So to lose that much value quite quickly is fairly interesting. But we can take a look at Everton. As you can see, immediately 7th in the Premier League, massive improvement. Michael Laudrup still the manager, so clearly had a much more successful season. Messi as well has been promoted to captain. I mean, we know Seamus Coleman was the captain before now, so it'll be interesting to see when that happened. Has that much of an impact on the dressing room? He's that significant of a player that, the club decided to make him captain. Before we get into our results in the season, we'll look at transfers. No massive names that you may have expected that Messi could attract. The opportunity to play alongside him. Muric, I believe, is a goalkeeper from Manchester City. El Neni came in on loan from Arsenal. Had a pretty decent season there with a 7.04 average rating. Montiel came in. He's a right back. The club have needed a right back for a while, so clearly he was brought in there. And Matthias Oliveira was brought in at left back. And as you can see in the transfers, though, there weren't any kind of significant departures in terms of the fullbacks that you might expect from bringing more depth in there. Bernard left for Bordeaux for 7 million. John Joe Kenny left to Bruges for 5 million. Coleman went to Norwich for 2.6. That's obviously why Messi has been promoted to be captain, and Andre Gomez to Montpellier for 1.7 million. So a couple of significant transfers there, especially your Seamus Coleman leaving the club after all these years and going to Norwich in the Championship for not that much money. Clearly the club decided that he needed to move on tactically. As you can see, similar system to last year. I'd imagine Richarlison, he started a lot of the games, 14 goals for him. Dominic Calvert-Lewin improving on his tally from last year with 21. Messi with a couple less, but still a fantastic return, playing in that 4-2-3-1 with Messi at right wing. And, Iwobi would have started there at left wing, and clearly this is a transfer. And Miss Vidma came in from FC Basel. Clearly, maybe that was a move done at the end of last year, so that wasn't included. Yeah, there you go. Oh yeah, sorry, missed a couple of quite important transfers there. Julian Draxler also came in from PSG in a deal which was 10.75 million. He's clearly not in the starting 11, maybe is injured. Relegated to the under-18s, maybe. Maybe he did have a significant injury then. 10 appearances, 7 as a substitute, but I mean, a fairly poor season there. Sorry, 6.61 average rating, only 1 goal and assist in 16 appearances there. Not good enough, but a better year in total from Everton in the Premier League. We go right to the top. Starting better. Not a great run in the Carabao Cup, but losing on penalties after some late drama there to Manchester City isn't the end of the world. Very decent run between October and November. Then declined into December, didn't start the year brilliantly either, but win again in the FA Cup third round, fourth round before going out to Arsenal on penalties again. So both cup competitions went out on penalties, so nothing too significant to say there, but seventh should be enough. Oh no, it's not quite enough to qualify for Europe because Wolves must have won the Carabao Cup. So that means that they get that let's call the UEFA Conference League position instead. Messi there, 17 assists, joined top with Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne beating him on the average rating. And as you can see there, Liverpool have won the league. Manchester United won it last year, with Liverpool a bit further off, with a very dominant year for Manchester United. But this year, Liverpool back with a dominant year of their own, getting 94 points. So, as we've done so far, I'm going to skip ahead to the end of next season. Nothing too much to shout about. No European football yet. Michael Laudrup as the manager. Messi's doing very well. He's clearly helping Calvert-Lewin out a lot, getting 2 really significant goal tallies over the past 2 seasons. Julian Draxler, probably the most significant transfer in of note, but hasn't really hit the heights that I'm sure the club would have wanted him to, and has picked up injuries along the way. So join us in just a moment. It'll be 24th of May 2023. We'll see how Messi's getting along as he turns 35. Will he still have the same kind of impact? We shall find out. Right then, welcome back. 24th of May 2023, and already in Messi's Premier League season stats, the man is still producing at a ridiculously high quality. The average rating has dropped slightly down to a 7.79, which is still fantastic over 34 games, but 13 goals, 14 assists. Still such a massively important player for the side. That value now really dropping off to 7 million, but nonetheless still doing well for an Everton side that this season finished 6th in the Premier League. Michael Laudrup is still the manager, interestingly enough. Ben Godfrey has been promoted to vice-captain, and a couple of really interesting transfers already there, which we are going to take a look at now. Just before the end of last season, Jack Harrison came in for 13.5 million, obviously playing on the wing from Manchester City. This lad, Szymanski, I want to pronounce his name as, playing as a central attack midfielder. Some decent stats, had a pretty decent year, getting 7 goals and 5 assists, whereas Jack Harrison didn't quite have the same impact, but 2 massive signings. 3 really. Pepe Reina coming in goal on a free transfer, former Liverpool of course, but clearly came in as the backup keeper at the age of 40. Didn't play, only played 1 game, conceded 1, an average rating of 7.1, not too bad. Gundogan came in on loan from Manchester City, 27 appearances, 7.71 average rating, so clearly a very impactful signing there. And Christian Eriksen for 10 million from Inter Milan, made a fairly quiet impact, really. Only 1 goal and 2 assists in 25 different appearances, so quite not much of an impact. Started the FA Cup game, got that assist, but nothing too significant. As I mentioned, Laudrup is still the manager, so clearly a better year for Everton this year, finishing in the European spots, currently in qualifying for the Europa Conference League. Pretty decent start to the season, apart from going out to Manchester City again in the Carabao Cup. Were unbeaten in the league until this Chelsea match. Again, after that pretty decent form, picked up quite a few losses in February and a draw. Progressed very well in the FA Cup, as you can see, beating the likes of Forest Green, Derby and Manchester United before reaching another cup final against Manchester City in a few days. It was a really good end to the Premier League season. So we are going to skip forwards by a few days. Another cup final, so clearly Laudrup's doing a really good job. We're going to skip forward, as I said. We'll go to the 27th of May, see how Everton get on in the FA Cup final before we then skip ahead 2 more years to the end of Messi's career and see how he does. Just quickly then, just before we move on to 2 years' time, it's disappointment. It's a penalty loss after a 0-0 against Manchester City in the FA Cup final, losing on penalties. That's probably extremely, unfortunate for the players there. Moise Kean, Richarlison and Allen scoring, but Iwobi missing. Manchester City scoring all 5 with Ederson, interestingly enough, taken first. And a couple of really interesting signs there. De Jong, Pavard, Leao, obviously a rumoured Everton target this summer. That Manchester City team clearly very good, but a pretty decent performance there. Messi picking up a 7.2, which is what we're here to see. Wasn't meant to be in the FA Cup, but another cup final, 2 in, 3 years? Pretty decent performance in the end. So now we're going to skip towards the end of Messi's contract, see how he gets along in the next 2 years or so, and we will bring the video to an end as his contract expires. Into the penultimate year of Messi's time at Everton now, that value dropping right down to 6 million. Quieter output this year. You can clearly see that drop off is now happening as he does turn 36, obviously going to be 37 in just a moment, but in the Premier League making less appearances, less goals, less assists. Only 9 goals and 10 assists in 35 appearances, starting and 8 off the bench, so not the best, but 7.42 average rating. That's still fantastic. He's clearly having a massive impact on the squad, which has kind of significantly changed. Simone Inzaghi is, interestingly enough, now the manager. He was obviously sacked from Inter Milan, and Laudrup was sacked after a poor run of form, with Everton now finding themselves finishing this season in 12th, with Manchester City winning the league. No European football. Just a disappointing round off there. Not quite what he would have wanted, but the system has changed quite a lot, so we can go and check that now. Just before, though, we will check the transfers, as we always do. Thiago Almada came in, a bit of a football manager wonder kid, had a very good season from that attack midfield spot, especially for his age, the fee. Clearly a very good move. Only 4.5 million, now valued at 41, so maybe he's come for the Argentinian link. This fella then joined from Bayern Munich. Did very well. At his previous clubs, but clearly didn't quite have the same amount of impact here. Didn't play that many games, so not too much of a significant transfer. Moving on though, some fairly bigger moves now. Brandon Williams joined. Obviously Manchester United's young left back. He came in, making 16 appearances, starting 3 off the bench, so nothing too significant, and quite a poor season from him. Of course, the man that we've just seen, and then quite a few other signs to kind of flesh out the squad. Junior Firpo joining, I believe he's actually already joined Leeds, so I'm not sure why he's still in this position, but he joined on a free. Conor Gallagher coming in on loan with no kind of significant transfers out apart from Julian Draxler. The club clearly decided he wasn't good enough. And James Rodriguez, I didn't actually notice him. So 2 attacking midfielders left. The tactics, quite different to how they have been. As we can see, Richarlison's actually had a very good year. 29 goals in 56 appearances, all in all. Obviously, Everton did have a European campaign this year, so we'll check on how they did. Inzaghi's come in, clearly favoured this kind of 5-3-2 system, with Davies playing a more defensive role. So a lot more defensively minded, but clearly something had to be done about Everton's poor form out against Cardiff in the Carabao Cup third round. Not a bad start to the Europa League. Getting through there, I believe. Before the second round, drawn 2-2 with Monaco, picking up the away goals though, winning that match, and then they went through to the quarter-final against Shakhtar Donetsk, where they did also go on to win before reaching the semi-finals against Bayern Munich, but just losing 2-1 on aggregate. So a pretty decent run, all in all, in the Europa League, despite the fact that Laudrup was sacked earlier on, and another FA Cup semi-final, so another decent cup run. But as we can see, we're here for one man. It's Lionel Messi. His impact is dropping off. He's heading into the final year of his contract. So I will skip right until that point when he becomes a free transfer, and we'll see how he gets on. Here we are then at the end of the video. 5 years in the future with Lionel Messi as an Everton player. As you can see, he has chosen to retire and become assistant manager at the end of his contract. A much quieter year once again. As you can see, 32 appearances for the club. 4 goals featuring 1 penalty and 5 assists. Not quite the same impact as he's had in those previous years in the first couple of years. 7.3 average rating was clearly still very important, but not quite enough. Also, as you can see, once again, another managerial change. Clearly, Inzaghi didn't quite hit the ground running as he would have wanted to, leaving after 335 days. 8 games, 3 draws, 10 losses, not given a tremendous amount of time, but it's very unlucky for it. Well, sorry, that was De Zerbi's record. Not even a terrible record, but De Zerbi, the new manager, was brought in from Shakhtar Donetsk, hopefully to try and get Everton back pushing towards European football, which it didn't quite get. So in 5 years with Messi as an Everton player, only getting European football once, a couple of good cup runs, losing in both losing both of the finals in the end. It's got to go down as probably a disappointment. It probably didn't have the impact that maybe we thought that he might have, but at the end of the day, I mean, we saw a massive improvement from Dominic Calvert-Lewin with that fantastic service. He picked up just, some really, good goal tallies, 21 in that season there, 15, 16, 11. Kind of tailed off as well, but not bad at all. So thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to let us know what you thought about this simulation. Do you think Messi would have a bit more of an impact? Everton may have had more success in the 5 years that he was here. Getting Europe once, 2 cup finals, not actually probably the impact that I expected them to have. But also let us know if you enjoyed the video. Let us know if there are any other kind of simulations that you want to see us do in the comments down below. And subscribe to the Toffee Blues. So thank you all very much for watching, and join us next time.